It is September 17th, 2018. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast. And you can see Kevin is jamming out to something. I'm not sure exactly what, but he did just hang up a brand new Heineken scarf.
Whoa, sexy.
Are we really live? Or are you just pretending?
No, we're live.
No, we're really live, Kevin.
Put those headphones on, man.
Doing it, man. Give me a break. I got my own headphones on.
You Ryan Fitzpatrick wannabe, you.
It's funny. Happiest of Joes, Joe Johnstone, just asked if we clapped to test the audio, and we did. We did that before we went live. Yes, confirmed. 100% confirmed. Dan has the clap. What's going on, everybody in the trap? We got Elliot Bevan, Joe Johnstone. We have Saul Lopez joining us tonight. Oh, and Brian, the Home Before Dark podcast brought to you by Heineken. That is correct. Go to your local pub.
Not really, though.
No. Go to
Elder Tree, $3 Heinekens every day.
You can't beat it if you're a drinker. Kevin, thanks for joining. I am Tim Herb. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley. Across from me, he's pouring himself
It's been a long fucking day, man.
It's been a long week. Sorry we didn't join you guys last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It has been a very eventful past few months for me. And I'd be remiss if I didn't chime in and say that Dan is joining us live as well from his own home studio in his basement.
That's all right. I'm just an afterthought. That's all.
Yeah. No, I mean that's
sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind, exactly. But yes, as Kevin alluded to, Angie and I just had a offer accepted on a house.
Who the fuck's got a bobby pin over here at my? You been interviewing Summer too?
Oh God, we will not be broaching that subject tonight.
Why is there a bobby pin at my seat? Who's been over here with their hair did sitting down in my seat? It's like I found lipstick on your collar, Tim, and I'm upset. I found lipstick on my mic cover. And I'm upset. My lick step.
Yeah. The studio will be moving at the end of October, and
it'll be closer to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Things will be maybe a little intermittent. It depends on how things go. I got a lot coming up between closing on the house at the end of October, my foot surgery in the middle of November. I'll still be broadcasting from my couch. You guys come over. And
we'll have playoffs and then the cup, so it'll work out okay.
Yeah.
And the final. Oh, yawn.
What did you say?
I said, oh, and the final. Oh, yawn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'll be pretty much wrapped up by then, so I think they're just going to give it to us. Isn't that how it works? If you get Supporter Shield, you just automatically win the cup?
Yeah.
No, it's because we're Atlanta United. That's why they're going to give it to us.
Oh, that's right. It's the MLS agenda.
The MLS agenda.
I mean, do we even need to have the show tonight? I think we can all agree that Barco's trash. McCann is the team MVP and should be the captain next year. I'm still debating Guzan. I'm not really sure. Yeah.
Does Nagbe really fit in the team?
I don't know anymore, man. I don't know if he really has a role at this point. I think Larry submitted himself as a CB.
He can't play center back. We saw that this weekend.
Ship out Remedi. You know,
my whole world is shattered. So I leave for a weekend, can't watch things. We play a 3-back with Jeff Lorenowitz back there. No Barco, a Nagbe coming back, starting without having played any warm-up time. And we dominate, granted. It was 3-0 against a really bad, like less than MLS, as Matt Doyle said, quote unquote team.
It could be worse. We could have lost to Chicago in front of 800 people in that stadium.
Yeah, that would have been way worse. Thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you who are joining us in the trap, Michael Ruiz and Brittany S., Tony Neitzel, Richard Gordon, Dirty Bird Person. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. If you guys are new to the show, make sure you hit the subscribe button and or the notification bell, because notifications only come whenever you hit that. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't like whenever we go live to send you guys notifications.
Any new reviews this week?
Nothing yet.
Nothing. Great. Thanks, guys.
I don't think I saw anything. Hold on. Let me make sure we didn't read the last one that came out.
No, we're still sitting at 145.
Well, no, there was 146, and then all of a sudden it flipped. Yeah. So I could take
somebody flipped the 146.
Yeah. So take a look at that real quick. See if you can find it, and then I will do a little housekeeping because it's been a while. So the top 5 in the MLS.
No, we didn't do the fantasy. Orlando sucks. review,
You're right.
did we?
No, we didn't.
So we did get one new one by Orlando Sucks, spelled S-U-X. This was on September 4th, so it was during the off week
Hiatus,
this past week. Yeah. It's titled My Weekly Dose of United, 5 stars. First, oh, fuck you, Orlando. Secondly, this podcast calms my... What is it? Sorry, my screen is shattered, so I can't read half of these things. Secondly, this podcast calms my United addiction between games. They provide facts, opinions, and general shenanigans, which keep you entertained for an hour or so. I look forward to their weekly show. Great podcast. Keep it up.
All right. And then we have our top 5 in the Home Before Dark MLS Fantasy League. Number 1, sitting strong and kind of making a bigger gap between him and second place. We have FC Apogee, aka Nathan Lines. We have Varvar Binks in second, Kevin Gorham. We have Andy Watkins. Shout out Andy Watkins, Soccer Specific Fantasy Team. Number 4, Kyle Cram, Black Hall Bombers. First time I've seen that up there. And then in 5th, we have Andrew Kolg, Transmission. Oh, Transmission FC. It's a NYCFC fan.
His name's Andrew Kolg.
Yeah.
Should be Kolg Train.
Kolg Train. So hot. Oh, and then sitting in 6th. I'm so disappointed. John F. Beasy is sitting. Granted, he's 1 point off the top 5. He's still sitting in 6th.
Come on, Jacob.
Jacob F. Barfeasy.
Barnaby.
Barnaby James.
Barnaby James.
But as Kevin was alluding to, if you guys want to leave a review and or rating, we will read your review out on the show. Leave it on iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff. Yeah, I hate it. I was out of town this weekend. Got to see my cousin get married, and of course, the wedding was at 3:30.
Well,
Eastern
you missed
time.
the Auburn game, so that was good.
Yeah, no, that was very good that I missed that.
Suck it, Domer.
Well, the thing about
Domer's my favorite person this week. You'll find out. You'll find out this weekend. Those of you who don't know,
the thing about Anders Carlson is that they can't just wave him like they did his brother yesterday or today from the Vikings. No, so I missed the Atlanta United game and I forgot to record it, just like a total plastic casual.
But you guys don't have cable, right? You just have YouTube TV?
YouTube TV. Oh, it was on Univision. Oh, right.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to watch it anyway.
It was on Univision and on MLS Live.
So,
not MLS Live, but it was streamed on Twitter Live. What were you saying, Dan?
It was on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough one to try to get a hold of. We ended up we were going to go watch it at Hudson FC with the Terminus Legion watch party. And whenever I talked to Fran last week, he was saying that there's going to be limited football showing, American football, college football showing. So we wanted to watch the Auburn LSU game at the same time. So we ended up going next door to Hudson Grill. And then I had a similar issue where there was maybe 6 people in there wanting to watch the Atlanta United game. So they put it on 2 TVs kind of far away, and I could watch it for the most part, but it was definitely intermittent. So how was your viewing experience, Dan?
It was all right. Yeah, it was pretty low key, but had a good time watching it, as good as it was for like the first 45 minutes. And then it was kind of just a snooze fest.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I feel like I didn't miss much in the second half.
I don't know. All I saw were the extended highlights or the 4+ minute highlights that were on YouTube. And from what I saw, it was, I'm a little disappointed we only put 3 in the back of the net against such a bad team with the chances that we had. But some of the takeaways, if we want to go ahead and get into positives and negatives, let's
start with the lineup, man. I think the lineup is the biggest talking point.
No, I agree with you. And you alluded to the new heel of Atlanta United Twitter, ATL Trains, talking about what our positions were going to be tonight, just based off of the stuff you were saying a couple weeks ago. And it's just, he likes to have fun.
You mean the things he wants to hear?
Yeah, the things he wants to hear. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, much to our surprise, Nagbe was in the starting lineup without having any warm-up time, any sort of substitutions previous games.
But it's not like he just was healthy and then all of a sudden they threw him in there. He's clearly been training for a couple of weeks now. We've seen and heard reports about that. So, but you're right. It was good to see. It was weird though, because it's the first time I think in the past 2 years where we've had a player that's been out for injury not be eased back into the lineup whenever it was, especially over the amount of time that Nagbe was out. It wasn't like it was a couple of weeks. It's similar to the length of time that Joseph was out last season.
Yeah.
And rather than him getting brought back in for a 20-minute sub at the end of the game, do that for a couple of weeks and then starting, you're right. He did come in and start, and then you pull Larry back, which was an interesting decision in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't think anybody saw that lineup with Almiron being pushed a little bit forward. Lorenowitz back on the right-hand side as a center back. That was strange. But I guess it was because Escobar maybe potentially wasn't ready to come back.
Yeah, it seems that way. That said, whenever we have this conversation, I think some of these things we've talked about. I know at least once I had mentioned putting a Villalba Martinez combo up top. Like having both of them play forward at the same time, I thought would be an interesting dynamic. It's good to see that happen and play out the way it did. But I don't think any of us, when talking about the Nagbe, Remedi, Larry situation in midfield, did anybody suggest no, just put Larry on defense? That's a perfect situation to put him in.
Yeah, he got bailed out by Nagbe during the first half. He got completely smoked by who was it? I think it was Smith actually, but he went straight past Jeff. But then Nagbe came right in there, dispossessed him, and then the Colorado player got it back and smacked it at Nagbe's head, and he was fine. Danger was over. I think that was the biggest threat that we faced during the first half.
Right. Anything to make of Barco's lack of starting in this game?
I think it's purely squad rotation right now. We got a couple of games.
I tend to agree. I'm not reading too much into that for the time being. I think it was a game that you could afford to sit him and get Nagbe into the rotation to get some meaningful minutes. And it made sense the way we had it lined up that we didn't have to have Barco in there. I think it made more sense to have the players like Nagbe and Remedi in there and make up the pieces where you had them.
Yeah.
I thought it was, sorry, Tim, I thought it was great that Tata put Nagbe in so he could get some quick minutes with Remedi and Jeff on the field at the same time, because we don't know exactly how that defensive center midfield pairing is going to actually portray itself in the games that really matter, even though this game kind of mattered, but it was kind of a junk game.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good call.
I'm not going to even approach the subject of saying that Barco is trash. I don't think that, and I don't think any of us have ever really definitively said that in any capacity with substance. That said, I think that in the formation that was presented this weekend with the Martinez, Almiron, and Villalba trio centrally and up top, that Barco could have easily muddied those waters because he does tend to migrate a little bit towards that central area of the forward press.
Well, what you're forgetting here, and I'm kind of inclined to agree with Bill Holcomb in the Trap when he's saying that, what did he say? Barco is the player on the team with the most rest. Why would we rotate him? He needs to continue to develop. And I get it that we have a fixture list that's 3 games in 7 days, 6 days, no, 7 days, because it's Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, is that Tata's making his decision harder. Like, it's making the decision harder on himself on this lineup because he's putting himself into a corner right now. If he's going to preemptively squad rotate, and then he's going to end up having a much better, more fluid, as you're pointing out, attack there. To me, I'm seeing, and it's no slight against Barco because he wasn't with the team last year. He doesn't have the chemistry that in the fluidity that the top four, the front four right now have.
Yeah.
Between, you see it with Gressel, Tito, Miggy, and Joseph, the way that they're able to weave in and out of each other, the way that they're able to play those balls, that they're able to pull guys over to the left side and to get Gressel wide open on those through balls over to the wing to play those early crosses, who I think he's probably the best early crosser in all of MLS.
What I would give to have that on the left side, though, that's what's really...
But you're not... So we've seen that on the left side, though. So we've seen games where we've had Barco on the left side and Gressel on the right side where they bang in. I can't remember what game it is off the top of my head, maybe the Portland game.
Where we had 23. It was the Portland game.
No, it's 35 crosses.
That was it.
That's what happens when you become so predictable on those wings, is that you're just lobbing those balls in, and all they have to do, especially a team like Colorado who has size in the mid or in the middle of the defense. Granted, they're not a good team. They're going to be able to they're going to be able to shore up that defense easier than with the unpredictability of having Tito and Miggy kind of weaving in and out, and then also having Gressel on that right wing, because you're not necessarily so focused on mitigating Miggy and Tito's cross game from the left side, where you're having to wait more people over there because you're having to cut off passing lanes, not just play man on man defense down that wing to stop a cross. You're kind of having to plug holes there, and then all that weight goes over to the left side, and you're able to free Gressel. And you saw that on 2 of the goals.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I'm saying. And it's a great problem to have. Barco is a fantastic substitute right now. I'm not saying he deserves to be on the bench, because he's a good young player and he needs to develop. But at the same time, it's kind of a hairy situation for Tata, where I don't know that he really. And again, we don't see these guys day in, day out in training, and then also off the pitch, and what their mentality is and how they've endeared themselves. But at the same time, he's going to have a hard choice or hard decision. I think I find it
very. Barco is a talented player and he has a role on this team, but I would be remiss if I did not say that it can easily become a too many cooks situation whenever you've got that much talent up top and no real form or
variety. I think is the main key there whenever you're talking about the rotation and the depth there.
Yeah.
But I mean, is 68 minutes really going to dent Barco's development?
No, not at all.
No, it's not. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for squad rotation. We've got 3 games in a week. I think it makes. I mean, you could have rotated somebody else, but I think that's fine to do with Barco. You know, he's had a lot of a shaky confidence this season. He's going into I don't really know how much the high altitude really is going to play into that factor, but I mean, he got some minutes. I don't think it's a big deal.
Do you have any fear with the amount of squad rotations that have taken place recently in maintaining any sort of, I don't want to say chemistry, but regularity? I'm trying to think of the word here, but consistency, I guess, on the attacking front and defensive front with the amount of rotations that we've had over the past 4 weeks in the lineup? I think
our squad rotation's really been due to injury. So I don't think there's been much. I think we really play a pretty consistent starting 11 for the most part. I think we're one of the more consistent teams in the league to do that. So
I'd be interested to see if Atlanta United kept the same lineup and formation more than 3 weeks in a row.
Well, and
more than 3 weeks in a row, I think you would be hard pressed to find that this season, that Atlanta United keeps not only the same formation, but the same lineup for more than 3 weeks, not just because of injuries. I think that there are things taking place that the lineup is constantly changing and evolving week in and week out.
Happiest of Joe's is saying,
about that, Kev.
With regards to your question about chemistry, Happiest of Joe says, not really, Kevin. We have enough experience as a team at this point to compensate without losing a step. And to Andy Watkins' point, he says, is Gressel in there? If so, things are consistent. That he has maintained one of the highest consistent runs of form on this team this entire season. Does he lead MLS in assists at this point?
No, I don't think he's leading.
Is Kaku still in the lead with that, with like 11 assists? I don't think the app that I use is the Score, and I don't think they count MLS assists. So I think they're only counting direct creation of goals. But let me see. Julian Gressel is second behind Luciano Acosta.
Elliot Beaven, that is a bad idea unless we have the supporter shield locked up. I think it's a bad idea, but have Barco start and have Miggy on the bench.
No, I agree.
To rest Miggy.
So
right now, it's just too crucial a time frame to take that kind of a risk when Miggy, especially after this week, you see Miggy put 2 away to get the brace, and that confidence up top, I think, is going to pay off hugely for him over the next couple of weeks.
So it turns out Brittany S is a huge Chris Wondolowski fan. She's wanting him to break the record against us on Wednesday night. So I'd rather us keep a clean sheet. That was probably the biggest surprise. So if we go back to the lineup again, whenever they got announced, I looked at it. We were getting ready for the wedding, and I looked at it just to see what was going on there.
While you do that, I am going to pull up Atlanta United's record.
Formations
for their lineups and formations. Over
we had a long stretch where we played a 3-5-2.
Yeah,
earlier on in the season, but that was predicated on injuries,
right? And I think even some of those players,
whenever Franco Escobar was hurt, yeah,
right. But you think about Guzan obviously has started every game apart from when he was suspended. Parkhurst has started every game apart from Houston. LGP has started every game apart from when he's suspended. Almiron has, Martinez has. I mean, that's a large part of the squad right there.
I get that, but there are still key figures, especially in the midfield. The midfield has changed consistently throughout the season, whether there's 4 players and you're pushing McCann or Ambrose or Garza up. And yes, I know some of that's injury, some of that's preference. Gressel or Escobar or Ziso, same thing. And then whether Villalba or Gressel are playing right wing, again, injury and situational issues aside, there has been a lot of variation in this lineup over the course of the season. Not to mention little intermittent games where Carlton started because of the whole Barco situation and stuff like that along the way.
Yeah, I like so Dirty Bird person ATL Chris saying Barco and Escobar probably have a good chance to start come Wednesday. I agree with you on that, especially as Brittany's saying if Escobar's healthy. Actually, she brings up a question. She's saying if Escobar is healthy, then Larry doesn't have to play. She's saying, talking about it being hard. And it's good. I mean, we talk about this plenty where we have this embarrassment of riches or this tyranny of choice. What's the other word?
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, I mean, there's another
champagne problems.
Yeah. So we're at that point, but going back to the lineup, we had 3-5-2. The back being, I want to find a single Atlanta United fan who didn't somewhat cringe when they saw Larry in the back.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then so you had him, Parkey, and LGP in the back, and then you had McCann playing a left wing back. Remedi, Nagbe in the midfield,
Gressel
on the right, playing right wing back, Miggy, and then Tito, Joseph up top.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I kind of like that lineup.
I do, except for Larry in the backfield.
That's fine. I mean,
against a more lethal attacking team, that concerns me on the back line.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And again, goes back to the kind of the disappointment, seeing some of the chances that were missed. I mean, I believe it was Andy Watkins and Brittany kind of debating about what happened, why they call LGP's goal back, because that definitely wasn't a foul.
I don't understand why that got called back
because
either.
It came out of Tim Howard's hands. It's not like he had possession of it.
And LGP made every attempt to not cause a collision. And
Howard was sticking his feet up in the air trying to make contact with him.
Yeah,
it was bizarre. I
don't understand that at all.
But he's a goalkeeping legend, so he gets the benefit of the doubt. In the same way that Michael Bradley probably is going to get the benefit of the doubt after this Laton stuff, which we'll talk about at the end of the show because I think it's pretty interesting.
So Bill does have a good point. If the cup is the most important, we have to rotate key players now, so ready for a run. Shield be damned.
But it's not
a valid point. What's that?
The Shield is the goal right now.
Well, right now, yes, but I think I think that those two things aren't mutually exclusive. I think you rotate players out because you have the ability to and still make a run for the Shield. But just cementing your lineup, aside from a few key players, I'm not saying, well, you can rotate out Martinez for Miles Robinson,
Romario
Williams. Let
Miles Robinson play
Miles
forward.
Robinson up top.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't think that's a very wise move. I have a feeling that would probably end poorly, but we've seen better. I mean, Andy Carroll started off as a defender, I think, and he's playing striker. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with Joe. 75 points or bust at this point.
Dude, you know that I forget who was it that tweeted out that if we win our next 3 away games, we set the new record that's been held for the past 20 years.
The away games record?
Most away games points. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember who tweeted that out.
Set by Red Bulls in 98, which is insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
Beat it by 1 point if we can do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so going back to the lineup again, Nagbe and Remedi starting alongside each other for the first time, obviously, because Remedi made his debut whenever Nagbe was still injured. Thoughts on that, Dan? I mean, Kevin and I weren't able to watch the full game. I mean, what were you able to see?
I was a big fan. I enjoyed it. I think it lends itself to a lot of the similar characteristics of the Larry Nagbe roles and matchups in the midfield, where Remedi is more of a defensive player and is going to throw body around more so in the midfield like Larry would, and it seemed to work out okay.
Does he release Nagbe in the same way that Lorenowitz does?
He does. So there were times where Remedi was pushing back and Nagbe was going forward, but I think there are times where he can allow Nagbe to push up further.
And not just that, right? I mean, did we see? I hate that I wasn't able to watch the replay because I don't know when it hits ESPN Plus, if it ever does, whenever it's coming from Univision, but it still wasn't there today. The Remedi has a much higher capability or ability whenever it comes to playmaking too. When it comes to playing accurate long balls or being more ambitious than Lorenowitz is in that playmaking role. And I think that could be pretty dangerous, not for us, but for the other team.
Yeah.
No, I guess we'll see on Wednesday. Miggy getting the brace on Saturday. Awesome to see.
I really think that's going to do a lot for his confidence.
I mean, we saw it as soon as he scored that goal at home. We saw it, kind of seemingly lift a huge burden off of his shoulders, and he's playing. I mean, not just that. I think there's something to be said with how unselfish Joseph was with that second goal.
Agreed.
I almost feel like Joseph's like, all right, I got the record. Let's go for the assist record. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see if I have enough time to do this. But Miggy's ability to get on the end of a cross or make runs, again, pulling all that weight to the left side, he was able to get open while Joseph was kind of the focal point in the middle, and Gressel was just able to find those crosses. It was
Gressel
beautiful.
This entire game was just the pinpoint accuracy between that distribution and the one for Villalba's goal were just incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
How about the switch from LGP to Gressel to allow Gressel to get the assist on that first goal? That was insane. I thought it was Almiron up there passing it to Gressel at first, but it wasn't. It was my boy, LGP.
Damn, Jay Riddle in the trap tonight.
Yeah.
Good seeing you, homie.
Yeah. If you guys don't know Jay, which I can't imagine you don't know Jay, go check out Unrelegated.
They've been hard to find. They've been out in the elephant graveyard the past few weeks. OTP for the watch parties.
Oh, yeah. They were out at... I can't remember where they were on Saturday. They were at
the pizza place last week.
They were with 78 Hooligans on Saturday. But go check them out. They're on the Home Before Dark Network, Unrelegated, Unrel, ATL, pretty much everywhere that you can find anything on the internet.
I know, that's right.
And that's even on like Food Network. They got a channel on there.
You can catch them with Alton Brown on the next Iron Chef podcast, America. It'll be great.
Yeah. I think This American Life was going to do like an expose on them.
It was going to be, they were going to be guest stars on the Degrassi movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Kelly going to play a 17-year-old?
Yeah.
And Jay's going to play some science teacher?
No, Jay's going to be that like wheelchair kid friends with Drake.
He's going to be friends with Drizzy Drake Rogers?
They got a new mixtape coming out. You didn't hear about it?
No. Ooh.
Yeah. It's called Vape Takes. All right. On that note,
so Dirty in the Trap, bringing it back to the podcast, guys. Dirty Bird person saying Nagbe Remedy has so much potential, but at some point it'll get burnt badly just because neither has been in the house full time. Chemistry will be an issue. Potentially, but I could see that maybe Red Bulls, who, I don't know, a little bit of the paint is starting to chip off of Red Bulls, that Red Bulls or DC could potentially expose them. But I think against the other teams in the MLS, I think would be okay. Like, I think they'd be fine to start and maybe build that chemistry against San Jose and potentially against RSL again this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we have two fixtures completely, I don't know, just inverted fixtures whenever you talk about the I don't know, the capability, the ability of the opponent, because you're looking at San Jose, are they currently still the worst team in the West in terms of standings?
Yes, they're the worst team in the league right now.
And then you have a surging RSL team.
Pretty sure Orlando are, right?
No.
In the West.
In the league. They have 20
I think
points.
Orlando is still
has 24.
I think Orlando is still the worst team in the West.
Oh, I see where you're going there. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Domer for naming that Degrassi show, Degrassi Null.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be remiss if I didn't call you out on the number of times you guys are saying remiss in this goddamn podcast.
Have I said it a lot?
You guys just say it all the freaking time.
Nonetheless, it doesn't matter.
To piggyback off that. So you had SKC put in 5 goals against San Jose on Saturday, so that was kind of a bloodbath. Or was that yesterday? Sorry.
Wait, which game?
No, it was on Saturday. It was SKC dropping a 5-point game on San Jose. So I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about come Saturday, but come Wednesday. But we have a team in RSL, if I'm not mistaken, who are still on the rise. They, I guess they haven't won in their last 2 fixtures, but they're still in 4th in the West, and they were banging in goals left and right. I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago where they had 2 games back to back where they put in 6 goals, not unlike Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City the past 2 weeks, throwing 10 touchdowns. We gotta not worry so much about Wednesday. I know. Then again, I mean,
who's having a watch party Wednesday?
I don't know.
Y'all let us know. That's a late game. That's going to be a tough one.
I'm not going to be having a watch party. I'm going to have a record that game and watch it the next day party.
Nap party.
Yeah, I'm too old for that shit, man.
I don't want to get spoilers, though.
At 1 a.m.? You're telling me I'm going to stop watching soccer game at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Let's just roll it into Friday.
Let's do it. No, Friday I'm going to be... I just got too much shit going on this week. Can't do it. What other takeaways do we got from the Colorado game before we dive into the San Jose and the RSL fixtures? Dan, any other positive, negatives?
Ooh, I like seeing Kevin Kratz try to rip that one in from distance. It was a good thought there. Trying to think. What were my other thoughts? I think we talked about... Go ahead, Dan.
No, I'd just say they didn't provide much competition, so it's difficult for me to take much from this game. I felt like we were just going half speed most of the game. I think the most energy was displayed by Tito when he came back and nailed what's his name? Castillo in the back for the revenge foul on Gressel.
Nonetheless, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the lack of
the fact that you said it wrong. Remiss. Oh, Spinelli is going to be very happy that you keep saying remiss instead of remiss.
If we didn't talk about just the fact that nothing really happened in the second half. I think Dan already mentioned that.
Yeah,
I really just wanted to say those words together.
It was good to see.
Really know where I was
it was good to see Tito back on the score sheet too.
Absolutely, miss that guy.
Remiss, no ed. It sounds weird.
No, I was saying it like missed, like
I know, remissed, like I missed it at
MIST.
Twice.
Yeah,
Mister. No ed.
I wasn't saying it ed. I said MIST.
You got to get rid of the ed.
You gotta get it wet again, Tim.
All right, we can move on.
Dan,
this is terrible.
What do we expect to see in Wednesday's lineup?
Wednesday's lineup. I think Guzan will play in goal.
Really? So, all right. Have you seen what Alec Can's been doing? I think knowing the competition and the situation we're in, we really need to consider what players need and don't need rest at this point in time. I mean, I think the Can Guzman debate is worth having right now if we're going to start talking about lineups again.
I don't have a comeback.
All right. Aside from your shitty hot takes, Dan, who's playing?
Dan, I
outside
just
of the
want you
goal?
to riff with me, man. Come on.
I'm
Tim and I
gonna
just went on an
go.
18-minute Degrassi bullshit stretch, and you couldn't even come up with something for a Guzan Can.
So look,
debate.
all I'm saying, Kevin, all I'm saying, keep going on about this McCann. We really haven't seen what Christensen can really do yet. So
What about Bello?
What? Well, I mean, why can't Tata play the kids, man? I mean, he hasn't developed Bello. He hasn't developed Carlton.
Domer's on it, man. Bello and
Miles
Carlton.
Robertson hasn't
Bello
been
and Carlton
developed.
this Wednesday. Bello and Carlton. I want to see it.
You guys are laughing and joking about that, but I don't think that's probably that far from the mark. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Barco and Carlton and Bello play, not necessarily start, but all three of them play.
Barco, Bello on left, pull out McCann, and who else? But the question is, who else do you pull out for those two players? So if Barco comes in, so okay, back to the topic. Guzan definitely in. Two players I think we'll see no matter what are LGP and Parkhurst. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who else do you think?
Absolutely. I think we could do a 3-5-2 again. If Escobar's healthy, I think he goes in the back line with Parkhurst and LGP. I'd say keep Gressel out on the right wing doing what he's doing. That's fantastic. And then I think you either start Nagbe, Remedi, and wow, that puts Jeff on the bench.
See, that's my hesitation with Escobar. Coming off the injury, I think he's a substitution as a defensive player rather than an immediate start. On the road, in that situation, I don't think it's necessary.
What's his injury? I didn't even realize he was injured.
He's been injured for 4 weeks now. I think it was something with his knee, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I did see pictures of him on the training ground last week.
Yeah.
So he may be back in training. I think we would put him in there. We could probably play a 4-2-3-1. That's the most successful we've been. Oh, no, it's not actually. It's a 3-5-2. Man,
so you think Barco gets a start this week? On Wednesday?
I think Barco gets a start.
I think so too.
I agree. But what I don't know is who
at
gets
the
pulled.
expense of who?
I could see. Okay,
Tito probably.
What about McCann?
Who do you slot back in that left back position then, or left wing back?
You put,
because you can't play Barco in a defensive role. He gives up too easily, and that's fine because he's a winger, center attack mid. He's not really built to go back and track back and play defense like that, but there's really nobody else aside from McCann or George Bello who can play that left wing back at this point because we don't have any heavy left-footed players that have any sort of defensive prowess.
Yeah.
You're really stuck. I mean, to be honest, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that you're stuck either with McCann or with Bello, and at this point, just due to experience and due to his consistency, much to the chagrin of some people on Twitter, Chris McCann is probably your best option on that left wing back position.
Yeah.
Or you could honestly see, this is a weird lineup that now I'm thinking about it, but you could see a back three of Miles Robinson, LGP,
Parkhurst,
McCann. So maybe you give Parkhurst and Lorenowitz both a rest.
Oof, I don't know if I like that.
Granted, we are just coming off the international break.
Like
I don't know.
that.
Anyway, I like McCann in that back three. I do. More so than I like Lorenowitz back there. And then you release George Bello to play on the left side.
Yeah, I mean, of the two between Nagbe and Larry, who's going to get the rest? Nagbe's coming off the injury. He's had plenty of rest. I think you rest Larry. He could use it. So if you're going to have to pull one of those guys out of midfield, I'd like to see Remedi and Nagbe stay in the lineup. I think Larry's a player primed for a rest. Honestly,
we say that, though, but at the same time, we're just coming off an international break, and he's played one game, and I don't know.
Yeah, but how many games has he played this season overall?
Yeah, but we keep saying it over and over. And we've said it last year, like he needs a rest. He's gonna slow down. He's not slowing down at any point. I mean, we haven't seen him outside of playing center back. We have not seen him slow down at all.
True.
And
Brian says that basically, I doubt there'll be a lot of tinkering. We can't really afford to fuck around on this game.
Yeah, I mean the mindset
Brittany, nobody else is resting.
The mindset with this game really could and should be, now that, having more time to process this, is you have to
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, not just that, to win the title. This is kind of an adage. I mean, you win the title and to at this point, or to win Supporter Shield, if you want to partner the two things together, you really have to win the games you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
Those are not the games you can't, especially against the worst team in the league points wise, you can't afford to even lose, 2 points.
Yeah.
I mean, we're up a point with a game in hand on New York Red Bulls. Was it 59-58?
Yeah.
And then we definitely need to bag another 6 points out of this 3-game fixture. I mean, it's a tough. It's probably, actually, now I think about it, it's probably the best 3-game stretch we could have hoped for in terms of opponents, because you're looking at the worst team, one of the worst teams, followed by the worst team. And then you play a good team. Granted, you're coming back home to play that game.
Yeah.
So I've been doing some scribbling here. I think this may be a little bit too cute, but I still think we're going to go full throttle until we've got the Supporter Shield.
Is it your starting 9, Dan?
It's my starting 9. So obviously Gazan. So I've got a 4-2-3-1. So McCann, LGP, Parkhurst, Gressel, Nagbe and Remedi in the middle, and then a front 3 of Barco, Almiron, and Tito up top with Joseph at the point. Then you could sub in Bello for McCann, depending on how things are going. Kratz could come in for Almiron, and then Carlton could sub in for either Barco or Tito, depending on who's tired at that point.
Say Kratz for Miggy?
Yeah. Like,
depending
depending
on
how
that,
the
because
game's going.
he's definitely more of an offensive player than.
I'm thinking we should win this game in the first half.
And then we have the ability to, at halftime or early on in the second half, to make those 3 substitutions.
That lineup that you mentioned, we ran that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We ran that exact same lineup recently, because that was the lineup that Bello got subbed in for McCann late.
Oh, against DC?
I believe that was the lineup that we did for DC, if I'm not mistaken.
DC lineup. Yeah, I think you're right.
And part of the problem, I mean, there was a lot of problems in that game.
We got absolutely trounced on the pressure in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but San Jose are not DC United.
No, it's true. And we do have DC United to thank from this past weekend for stealing 2 points away from New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, DC United was that exact same lineup. So 4-2-3-1. Well, I guess with the exception of you said Nagbe instead of Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but exact same with that exception.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, that was one of the weaknesses. Not that Jeff was the weakness, but there was a little reluctance to pass quickly in the midfield against DC, and you probably see Nagbe being able to control that better, being able to spray passes out, especially against what Dan was saying, a weaker team in San Jose.
I tend to agree, Dan. I think that's, of the players that we have available right now and where we are, that is a lineup that I think makes sense and that I'd honestly like to see Wednesday.
At the sake of wasting time and pulling up results from this year, I feel like against the worst teams that are the teams on the lower half of the tables that we've played this year, we've had a lot of success with the 3-5-2 because we're able to attack more heavily with that, get ahead, kind of blitzkrieg them and then being able to kind of take the foot off the gas.
But even in this 4-2-3-1, you're so heavy with attack, but with those front four, it's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. But
between
again,
Marco, Miggy, Villalba, and Martinez, because I think early on, whenever we were with the 3-back where we found success against those teams on offense, we didn't have Villalba. We were still finding success. Even with Villalba up there, you have somebody that can strike and distribute and take space a little quicker than Gressel can. I think that this 4-back scenario lends itself to a lot of
Villalba in lieu of Gressel in terms of a winger.
Yeah.
So you're saying to tell Gressel to stay more at home during this game?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you've got Nagbe there, I mean, I'm not saying Gressel stays on the back line the entire game, but he doesn't need to be as prevalent up top, maybe as in some of the games past, because you do have, like I said, Nagbe, Villalba, because Nagbe is going to naturally push forward between Nagbe, Miggy, Villalba, Barco, and Martinez. That's 5 players that are going to naturally want to push the ball forward. That's where you can get exposed on the counter, as if Gressel's pushing too far forward. Pushing too far forward. If Gressel's pushing too far forward, Barco's drifting too much centrally, forcing McCann to come too far forward, then you end up from not just 5 players moving forward, but 7 potentially, just leaving LGP, Parkhurst, and Remedi back there somehow to defend everything.
That's where I think McCann can become valuable there, is if you see Gressel start to move up that wing to provide more service, you can see McCann stay at home and play in that 3-back that he's comfortable with alongside Parkhurst and LGP.
Right.
I mean, we've seen that time and time again with that back 3 even though this weekend we saw Lorenowitz back there instead of McCann.
Right. Then you can have Nagbe can push up between Almiron and Barco to play behind them. So even though you're pushing up on the right, you're still supporting the left a little.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to be anything wildly different than what we have seen recently. I don't think Bello gets the call up for a start. I don't think we see Andrew Carlton getting a start. I think Escobar is too wild of an assumption to think that he comes in and starts at this point, considering the people that you have that are playing defense consistently, whether it's Gressel on right back or Jeff on the 3-back like this past weekend. I don't think you take that risk. You don't have to take that risk. You have it available if you have to make some second half substitutions, but I don't think it's going to vary wildly from what we've been seeing.
See, I like what Dirty Bird Person is saying. He said we are still a remarkably young team outside of Larry and Parkey. Don't stress rest too much. I'd prefer we try to steal minutes as the results of our games dictate. Pull people earlier in matches. I agree with that wholeheartedly. We've harped on that for 2 years. That Tata doesn't make those decisions quick enough in games. And
Elliot Bevan thinks Escobar starts.
I think it's his position to lose.
Who do you think sits if Escobar starts, Elliot?
Say it.
Say it. What are you thinking? Say it. We're all waiting. We're all waiting.
Good night, Joe.
I don't know. That's a tough one, because at that point you probably do have to pull an attacker and you have to put Gressel up, because
Gressel. He says pull Gressel.
I don't like when we pull Gressel.
I don't like it either, because I think that Gressel is less of a super sub than Villalba.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So in that sense, I would rather pull Villalba and put Gressel up top and then have Villalba come in as a sub if you're going to do that. Just my thoughts. I'm just this destroyer of dreams, Domer. I'm sorry, but you made my dream come true. Can't wait for Saturday.
Do we want to touch on that?
Yeah.
We're very fortunate that we are getting an opportunity. Kevin's great, amazing design, which you guys can see on that magnet on the King Peach box.
We'll get shirts up this week, I promise.
We'll be flying proudly in the supporter section on Saturday.
Yeah.
Alongside another brand new flag from Angie.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Which is tribute to Joseph Martinez.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to see new flags up there. And then, to see Home Before Dark represented up flying in the supporter section. Yeah. Super cool.
That'd be great.
And we can't thank you guys enough, Domer and Terminus Legion, for making that happen.
So Dan, do you go to any games anymore, or
just his son's games? I can't believe you have your newborn baby boy already playing soccer to where you have to coach him.
Yeah, I know. He should have just picked it up naturally, right?
Yeah. So our buddy Matthew will be out there with us Saturday.
Yeah, it's gonna be his first game. Yeah.
We'll be. I'm assuming we're gonna take him to the tailgates and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I have a little bit of dilemma. I haven't finalized my plans as of yet, but the Clemson Georgia Tech game is happening before that, so I might be doing a double header because that game will surely be over by halftime. So I'll be able to maybe do the first half and then come over, but then I'll miss most of the tailgate. So I'm trying to figure out what my plans are. For
Don't dodge Domer's question.
What did Domer say? Where's my shirt? Beach. I told you we're gonna get them up in the store, and then I'll have yours ordered. Yours will be one of the samples that we order. I promise you. I got you.
Saturday, you guys have any reservations, any sort of hesitance?
No reservations.
Playing against RSL?
This Saturday? No. Next Saturday, maybe. I'm just kidding. It was just a weird way that I said this Saturday. Wait, we didn't even do score predictions for Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm looking at San Jose first. Once we get through then I'll worry about RSL. I think RSL is going to be a more difficult test than San Jose.
Shit, Bill Holcomb. I might go to the game now. If you got a tailgate going on, I'll definitely do that.
Well, make sure Matthew has that ticket before you don't make it to the Atlanta United game on Saturday.
I got to make it to the game, so I'm going to have you bring me home. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not, though. You're not one bit. So, Dan, you're talking about the San Jose game. Do you have any sort of fear about Wednesday? You think this is beyond a trap game, right? Or not near a trap game because they're such a bad team.
I am going to be overly confident and say this is not a trap game. This should be a 3 points. I mean, though Dallas probably felt that, and then Dallas got beat. So
what's the biggest score difference we've had in a game this season?
I think it's 5-0 against LAFC.
What was it?
5-0 against LAFC.
Yeah.
I think we break it. I think this is the game.
Whoa.
In San Jose. I don't mind that. I don't mind that prediction.
6-0.
Okay.
6-0. I think 4-1.
That look on your face is killing me. I don't think we concede a goal. I like the fact that we were able to keep Colorado out of the back of the net, and San Jose are, a worse team. And I think that we keep a clean sheet, keep the train rolling going into. How perfect was that? You had to pick that up before I ever even said train. See, we're on the same damn wavelength.
Train. Same train.
We are boxcar children. Oh, God, I lost my train of thought. Oh!
Nonetheless.
Oh, dear God.
We're back on track now.
Yeah. Dan, you're supposed to appreciate this. Or does it... or do you get...
Sorry, I just turned the volume down on
Dan's
my
the dad in the room.
He is. You think three boys over that he would be so enthused about dad jokes, but is it like first one comes, second one comes, oh, I love dad jokes, and then the third one comes, I'm getting tired of it. There's just too many of them. Like my brain's not firing correctly. I'll blame it on the lack of sleep, the fact that you're not joining in on this, Dan. But I think
I definitely think my brain is not firing correctly. I do agree on that.
Yeah. I think everybody's kind of throwing in whopping scores.
6-0. Yes, who agreed with me? Elliot
Beaven.
That's my boy. All right.
Brandon Scott says 3 points for Martinez. I would like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking hat trick for Miggy or Martinez, goal for Miggy, goal for Barco, and a goal for Remedi. And Nagbe. Nagbe deserves it more.
I think it's 2 hat tricks. I think you see Nagbe get a hat trick.
Fuck it, 3 hat tricks.
I think you see
hat trick of hat tricks.
I think you see Michael Parkhurst get his first career hat trick on Wednesday.
I think Parkhurst, Guzan, and Can.
Whenever we swap. Ooh, are we going to see the ever elusive keeper swap at halftime because we're up so high?
Yes, I love it. All right. So
No, in all seriousness, I'll probably go with the 4-0 on the game on Wednesday.
I'm gonna stick with 6-0.
I think one of the hard things though is that we're going to be granted we're already over on the West Coast somewhat. I think Denver is 2 hours away in terms of, or 2 hours back in terms of time zone, and then you're looking at San Jose being 3 hours back, and then playing a late game where the guys are essentially playing at, I don't know if you want to take into account regulating their sleep and all that, since they've been over there, since they went over on Saturday, you're looking at least like a 9-10 o'clock biological clock start for them, which is weird. I don't think there's it's something that you can't really take for granted, but at the same time, if we're going up against such an inferior squad, and we've proven time and time again this year that we're up for the challenge, especially on the road.
Yeah.
So some of San Jose's weaknesses: avoiding fouling in dangerous areas.
So yeah, I think you definitely get a red card.
Get a PK. Defending against skillful players. We have a couple of those.
Do we?
Defending set pieces. Very weak against that. And then defending against through ball attacks. We freaking love ourselves some through balls. So yeah, this
6-0.
I'm thinking.
Ooh, and Brian's point: play Kratz. I think Kratz comes on for a late substitution, gets another free kick goal.
A couple free kick goals. Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah,
I wonder if. No, I'm not going to say that.
What? No, you say it right now.
I was wondering if Kratz is going to start.
Ew. Why?
Why not?
I mean, I'm not saying ew to Kevin Kratz. I think he's great, but why would he?
I think if they're so prone to fouling and going against skilled players, I think that Barco starting is a perfect fit.
I agree.
His ability to draw fouls and his ability to dribble around people could end up freeing some people up. We just got to make sure that we find a way for him not to clog up the midfield whenever he's dribbling around like that.
Completely agree.
Yeah, they're probably going to play a 4-5-1 with Wando up top. So we can easily crush him with LGP and Parkhurst.
Yeah.
And then we just got to...
Anybody
I don't know. So
is McCann still sitting on yellow card?
McCann has...
I think he's the only one, anyone close.
What about Miggy? I thought Miggy was for a while. Did he get...
I think he might have had one...
Rescinded?
Rescinded, yeah.
I usually don't know these things. I did see that. I think Bill was saying that we are 6 points clear of Champions League qualification.
Shit. That's awesome.
So go for the treble that we have available to us at this point in this year. Get the Champions League qualification. Get a supporter shield.
Yeah.
Get the cup.
Yeah.
Secure the bag.
CCC.
So the great thing about, one potentially good thing, like Colorado did as they were home, they didn't tend to bunker that much, as teams tend to play a little bit more openly at home. So hopefully San Jose can do that as well. And we can just punch a living shit out of them.
Yeah. So we won't record again before RSL. We talked about how excited we are to go to the Gulch. I'm really excited because it's been over a month since we've had a home game.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I don't know which is worse, the 17 home games in a month or the lack of having any in a month.
It has been 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Was it 6 weeks since the DC game?
Something like that.
Damn.
It's been a
or not DC. Was DC our last home game?
I don't remember even.
Ugh. I don't like that.
Yeah. I know it's been at least a month, so it'll be fun to be home. Actually, be
Columbus Crew was our last home game.
Oh yeah, you're right.
One of the last 3 home games we have left. We have RSL. What is it? RSL, Chicago Fire, and
New England.
New England. Yeah.
We're gonna record on Thursday just to spite Bill.
What's he saying?
He's saying y'all won't record again for a month, please.
Man, you trifling.
Man, you trifling.
It's hard out here in the streets.
When have we not recorded for a month?
Yeah, not even in the off season did we go a whole month without recording.
Come on, Bill.
Come on, Bill.
2 weeks, man.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
3
Shout out
weeks
to
max.
Nagbe, 100% pass completion on Saturday.
Shout out to Nagbe.
Love the fact that he's back.
Ooh, it's a 72,000 game.
On Saturday.
Good looking out there, Richard Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Finally, McCann is one yellow away from suspension.
Oh
Took
God.
me that long to look that up.
Yeah, McCann is 1 away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been sitting on 5 for a while, right?
Yeah. Maybe he gets it rescinded this week if he doesn't get one. Because it's been a couple
I
weeks.
don't think he got books last week, right?
No. Yeah, so I think he gets it rescinded this week. If it's not this game, it's next game. Either way.
Nonetheless.
I purposely didn't use it.
No Pirlo farts tonight. Very happy about that.
So we did score predictions. We won't have another recording before RSL. So quickly, thoughts on RSL before we wrap this thing up.
I think that they're going to put our defense to the test. I don't know. I haven't watched a whole lot of them. I know that they can score goals and buckets. And despite the fact that the West is down this year, they still are in 4th place behind, I think, Portland, SKC, and Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the top 4? So I don't know a ton about them, to be honest. I know that they have some dangerous players on their team, and we just have to account for them. Between Rusnak, João Plata, and then I believe there's one other guy in the midfield that we have to worry about.
Is Beckerman still with them?
Yes, he is. Peckerman, more like it. Am I right?
Fuck that guy.
Because he's a dick.
Fuck that guy.
No, we've also got Brooks Lennon.
Oh, the old Liverpool great. Kyle Beckerman, Danny Acosta on the left back position. I don't know if he even gets to play right now. He's still young.
Coming home is exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of momentum. The crowd is going to be into it. A big crowd. Somebody mentioned RSL a good team, but pretty poor on the road. I don't know what their road record is, but just based on that, if I hear something, I assume that it's true. So I'm going to say 2-1 Atlanta against RSL this weekend.
I'll go with 3-1.
Dan.
All right. So they're weak at stopping opponents from creating chances. We're really good at creating chances, just not finishing them, and defending against through ball attacks. So again, we're pretty good at that. So they either seem to flip between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3. So I think they'll probably play something more like a 4-2-3-1 to get a little bit more defensive. So I don't know. I don't rate João Plata that highly anymore, though he seemed to be one of the better rated players. I'm going to go for 2-0.
They actually have the worst defense of any of the playoff teams right now in the West. They've given up 47 goals, and the next closest would be 43 from LAFC, but LAFC is also bagged an extra 6 on top of that. They only have a 2-goal differential, so it's not like they are. And that's with 2 games where they outscored their opponents 12-2. So
you mentioning LAFC just brought to mind another LA team and the goal of the year.
Yeah, Dan,
this weekend with Zlatan's goal. His 500th career goal this weekend was ridiculous. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it was just crazy. Yeah, the karate kick.
Good Lord.
Is there a better goal this season?
Isn't that a Ryu kick or a Ken?
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of great goals. I liked Bradley Wright Phillips' half bike kick this weekend that scooted a goal past.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah. He had a nice one in the DC United game. That DC United game was a roller coaster, man. Every time I looked away, it's like, wait, what? I thought at the end of the first half, it's 1-1. Oh, this game's going to be a draw. 82nd minute or whatever it was, 2-2. Then by the end of it, it's 3-3. Just ridiculous.
Silly season, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that LA Galaxy putting in how many goals? It was a 6 goals?
LA Galaxy? Didn't they put in 3 and Toronto put in 5?
What game am I looking at then? Where from this weekend where oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, I had it flipped in my mind. Sorry.
Okay, okay, Tim. No big deal.
No, the bigger takeaway for me was Zlatan punking Michael Bradley.
Oh yeah. That's what Elliot Beaven said. Bardley versus Zlatan.
It was fantastic. And Bradley was on the Herc and Max podcast this morning when he's like, "It's not the first time a player doesn't like me. It's not going to be the last time a player doesn't like me." But Zlatan said something to the effect of like he thinks he's some sort of football genius or something like that. He doesn't. Oh God, let me see if I can find it real quick.
I don't know, man. So I kind of agree with Jason Longshore on this. I don't think that Zlatan really got the better of it. I mean, his team got beat. His team got thrashed.
True.
So what's he doing talking nonsense after he's on the losing team?
He's arguably the third greatest attacking player of the past. Not arguably, he is the third best attacking player of our generation.
I mean, between that chop that he had just hear me out. Between the chop a couple weeks ago and then the karate kick this week, kind of training you think Zlatan's doing for his next career? You think he's going
MMA?
Yeah. You think he's going UFC next?
Yeah.
I can see it.
6'4".
Yeah.
Leg locks for days. No, his quote was, he thinks he is the philosopher of football. I have more goals than he has games. He should follow my rules.
But then what has Zlatan really done for the Galaxy?
He's kind of invigorated them, Dan. I think.
Has he?
I think so. I mean, from where they were at the beginning of the season to where they are now, I mean,
when their managers walked off, got fired.
Damn, dropping knowledge.
And still somehow they're only 6 points off of a playoff spot.
You know, there's 6 points separating, what is it, 5th through 8th in the East, I believe it is. I think I saw that earlier today. 6 points separating 8th from 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah. No, actually, you say 6 points?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 6
pretty
points.
Close. And 2 of those teams have a game in hand. It's a really close race for the playoffs in the East right now, which I had not noticed until today. All right.
I'd be surprised. Because,
Go ahead, Dan.
Because Galaxy have 29 games. They've played more games than most teams.
They have.
No, I think it's split pretty much right now. Everybody's at 28 or 29.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Even DC United's caught up to 28.
LA Galaxy has more games played than the playoff teams for sure, and in the West. But that on if Zlatan played the whole season, I think it's kind of different. I mean, you're looking at him right now. He's second or third in goals right now. He has definitely added another dimension to that attack that was definitely anemic before he got there.
He's second. I think Bradley Wright Phillips is still second.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think he might be fourth.
He has 17 goals. He's in third.
The LA Galaxy have won 1 of their last 9 games, and that was against Orlando.
Okay. All right, you got me there, Dan. But at the same time,
Seattle beat them 5-0, and then Real Salt Lake beat them 6-2.
Okay, on that same token,
5-3.
On that same token, what has Michael Bradley done for Toronto this year?
Oh, I'm not trying to defend Michael Bradley.
You defend him right now, or I will.
Oh, okay. He beat Zlatan. And then when Zlatan didn't like Bradley chatting back to him, he got all pissy.
Is Josie even playing anymore?
Yeah, he played on Saturday.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he scored a goal.
Gotcha.
He's then the other run of fixtures from the weekend.
Is that game worry you guys coming up? The end of the season to close that out. Is that Toronto game worry you guys like it does me? I could easily.
No, yeah, I definitely do.
History, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really tricky game. I think that Red Bulls and RSL right now are the 3 games that I have circled as. I don't really know what could happen with these 3.
So let me ask you this. Let's say I'm still thinking DC gets into the playoffs.
Ugh.
Who do you think who do you not want to play
DC
in the playoffs?
DC?
Yeah. So who would you want to play between Red Bulls, NYCFC, Columbus? Yeah, their form has been pretty shit. But do you think they'll make it through?
Oh yeah, NYC is definitely going to make it through.
You think they'll make it through to the semifinals?
Yeah.
Of the East?
Yeah, I think so.
You think they could beat Columbus, Philly, and DC?
You don't think so, Tim? Who do you think they lose to? Out of those teams,
Columbus. I think Columbus will beat them.
You really think that?
I think Columbus has the experience and the wherewithal to. I mean, you saw what they did. If it
comes down to PKs, great.
No, not just that. I mean, I don't think that NYCFC has won a playoff game yet.
Is it going to be played in NYC or in Columbus? That's a big.
Doesn't matter. Factor. Same amount of Columbus fans will show up. So it's not like
fucking mic drop.
That is the quote of the night.
Holy shit! Well done.
Oh my gosh.
Well done.
All right. This
well
has been
done.
Home Before Dark. Thank you, everyone.
Well done. I have nothing else to add to that. Well done. Well done.
It's true though.
Yeah, to your point, Kevin, NYC has won 1 game in their last 6.
I know. That's why I said I would prefer to play them, but I think they make it through based on their position in the rankings. I think they get the home game in the first round, which will throw off most teams because of the field size. And they'll be at home, and they'll have a crowd. I could see them getting through the first round.
So they would. So the way it stands right now, we've got
Philly,
ATL, Red Bulls, NYCFC, Columbus, Philly, and I'm going to put DC in on top of Montreal. So who do you think they would play out of? Well, I guess they would play DC then, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They would play the 6th seed right now.
You think
I think if DC comes into NYCFC, they beat them. If it's Montreal, different story. If it's Columbus or if it's Philly, I think it's a different story. I think that NYCFC has I really think the only team under them that they would end up playing, because I have the top 4 as a lock right now. I think Atlanta United finishes first, Red Bulls, NYCFC, and Columbus. I think you can lock those top 4 in their positions right now. So the teams that they could play in the first round, out of those 4 teams, if you want to call it 4 teams, just to kind of expand it, where you have New England, Philly, Montreal, and DC. I think DC is the only one that really gives them fits and beats them. I think the other 3 teams,
big run this year.
Yeah,
I think
DC or NYCFC.
No, DC.
DC. Oh,
I think DC has a run in them. If I'm not prepared to say that DC is a playoff team yet. If they make playoffs, I think they are poised to be a team that makes a serious run for it.
Yeah, to Dirty Bird person's credit, Montreal is playing pretty well,
because every game
Piatti could put them on his back.
Every game on short weeks that you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that would say 2 months ago, oh, DC is going to play Portland, Atlanta United, New York Red Bulls, and NYCFC, and they're going to beat Atlanta United, draw Red Bulls, draw NYCFC, and beat Portland. Nobody's calling that. And I think that right now they're picking up steam, man. And if they, like I said, I think it's a little too late, and it'll be interesting to see if they can carry it through the end. But seeing their run of form against really, really talented lineups on the road, I think that if they make it, they could easily make a really, really strong run at it.
Yeah.
Glad you finally come around to mine and Tim's way of thinking.
No, I've partly come around to it.
You have a good goalkeeper, a decent defense, and a plethora of attacking options.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit whenever you get into the playoffs. You saw what Zach Steffen was able to do to put Columbus on his back against us last year in the playoffs. You can see Bill Hamid do the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
Right, because they got 5 home games coming up. They got Montreal next week. That's going to be a huge game.
That's a 6-point swing, right?
Yep.
Then there's Chicago Fire. They should beat them. Then they've got FC Dallas, then Toronto, NYCFC, and then they finish out the game in Chicago. So I think there's at least 9, 10, 11, potentially 12 points that they could get out of that.
Yeah. It's possible.
That's a rough run
it is
of games.
But so has their last 6 games.
It's true.
They've come out on the better half of that more times than not.
Yep. And Montreal have NYCFC, DC, obviously, Columbus, Toronto, and New England. So I would say 9 points out of that. And I think that puts... I can't remember. Yeah, no, I think that actually gets them through.
No, I agree. I mean, the biggest thing is if they can win that game against Montreal, that swings momentum hugely in their favor. Because right now they're sitting 4 points off of Montreal with a game in hand.
Yes.
You do that, you still have the game in hand, and then on top of that, you close the gap to 1 point.
Yeah.
It's a huge momentum shift. Don't look now. The past 5 games, Philly have 4 wins and 1 draw.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing to keep in mind going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how they do in their next couple of matches, because they went on that huge winning streak for 5 games. Okay, and they drew Orlando and got spanked by Montreal.
Oh yeah, you're right. They didn't update the last 4 thing. Yeah, you're right. So it was a 4-game win streak, a draw, and then 4-1 loss against Montreal. My bad on
then
that.
No, that's okay. Then they got Seattle, then Sporting. They've still got the final with Houston Dynamo on the US Open Cup coming up. So they've still got that to contend with. Columbus Crew, Minnesota, Red Bulls, and NYCFC. Man, they've seemed to have the harder road into the playoffs.
I think you could probably lock them in. I think the 6th spot is really the only spot that I really see that's up for grabs right now.
Yeah, I mean, Philly they're 5 points ahead of DC, and they've played the same number of games.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard gap to close.
That is going to be a hard gap to close. Though I'm kind of thinking that Columbus Crew could take 3rd away from NYCFC.
At this point, I agree. Yeah. NYCFC are taking a massive dip, but that could end up. I'm kind of wondering if that does something in their favor.
In whose favor?
In NYCFC's favor, because if you think about it, if they swap places and they're in the 4 position, they play Philly in the 5 versus DC in the 6th. That could be a easier first round match.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's exciting.
Ooh, DC Columbus would be a great game.
Yeah, it would be. That would be.
Be a really good game. Closing comments, thoughts until next week. Nothing? Got nothing.
No
more baby announcements or anything?
I'm hoping that we can...
Irish twins? You got Irish twins on the way down?
Fuck off, Tim.
We'll be out at the Gulch in some capacity or another, or out around that other stadium. Bobby Dodd. Couldn't think of it off the top of my head.
Daddy Bob.
Got Clemson winning this weekend. Got Atlanta winning this weekend. Atlanta's going to win Wednesday. It's going to be a great week, guys. We're back on regular scheduled programming.
Yeah.
We'll be back next Monday. In the meantime, you can find all of us on Twitter. Tim, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Tim Herb, at my name.
Dan, what about you?
You can find me at DNJMS, and you can find Matt Ryan rushing in 2 touchdowns of the shitty Carolina Panthers. Row, row, row!
Well done.
Row, row, row.
Well done.
Carolina Panthers.
You can find me as well at The Architect. That's at @the_ARC, number 1 TECT. Collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and then number 4. Check out all the other shows on our network, of which there are 2. Mills Has Friends, in which this weekend he awkwardly interviewed his ex-girlfriend, and it was a delight for all of your ear holes. So
this wasn't like for those of you guys who are aware of this segment, it's not like Crowder Confronts. It's not like he went and it's not like he just went and set up shop in her house
to catch a predator or anything like that.
The guy has no fear, though. I respect him.
It was a great show. I really enjoyed it.
I'm about halfway through with it. I had a couple moments where I'm pulling my collar and just.
So check out Mills Has Friends on the Home Before Dark network, and also, as Tim mentioned earlier, go check out Unreal ATL on Twitter. Jay and Kelly. I think that's it. Oh, check out gethomebeforedark.com/shop. This week we'll tweet out whenever the shirts and stuff goes up. Be sure to send us your best pictures of the Unite and the Golden Boot flags as they are waving this Saturday. Really excited to see that. Big shout out to Domer and all the people over at Terminus Legion for making that happen. Big shout out to the Trap and all the homies for making this another enjoyable episode like it is each and every week, for showing out and showing up. Love the hell out of you guys. We'll see you next week. As always, be home before dark.
Earthquake? More like a crack in the sidewalk.